Anyway, it's great to be home. Longest time in my career that we've only played 2 home games during the course of the season, from September 4th to October 22nd. That's a long period of time. Third home game at 2-4. Unfortunately, we haven't been real successful on the road, so it's great to get back home and play at home in front of a home crowd. Hopefully we can replicate the way we played against Sacramento State here. I think that was like a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. Again, Saturday. Obviously, our early first quarter scoring drought is an issue that we've got to take care of. We've got to be able to end drives with touchdowns and not end drives with turnovers down in the red zone. Last week we had a punt block, threw an interception in the red zone, miscommunication on the handoff. All that happened in the first quarter. Gave us no chance to win on the road against a football team that knows what it's doing with Northern Arizona. They threw the ball well, they threw the ball in tight windows, and they made catches, and we didn't, and that was really the measure of the ball game. Much improved, though, on defense, particularly our run defense, where 2 weeks before that we'd given up 531 to Portland State. And until the game was decided, unless the 6-minute mark of the fourth quarter, we'd only given up 60-some yards rushing throughout the day. So much improvement by our defense against the run, and that will have to be in evidence on Saturday against a North Dakota team that really likes to run the ball and then go play action pass and hit you with passes when you're out of position and trying to lean so heavily on the run. Defensively, they appear to be very sophisticated, but Bubba's been running this defense for a long time, and it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. It's really just a base defense where they try to keep everything in front of you and make you earn it. And they're a football team that prides itself in not turning the ball over and getting turnovers. They have 13 interceptions this year. Pretty good ball hawking secondary, an excellent corner who's only a junior. And if you look at the width and breadth of North Dakota, they are a young football team. They have a lot of guys that are playing a lot of very good football that are not seniors. And I think that's typical of our entire conference. A lot of really good players in this conference that are not seniors. So with that being said, we're one of those teams also. A lot of our young guys have got to continue to grow, continue to develop, continue to try and make plays. I'm real proud of where we're at in our offensive front. Dallin Collins has played more plays than any other player in this football team at center. Jacob Molinar has started at left guard since game 2 and has done a pretty good job learning on every rep how to play better. And last week, Thomas Vazorka moved from right guard out to right tackle for his first start and played pretty well against a guy that was a pretty good defensive end. So a lot of good things going on in our football team. Hopefully we can put it all together, avoid major turnovers, and play well on Saturday.
Doing a better job of stopping the rush, can you attribute that to you guys simplifying the defense?
Yeah, I think coaching staff did a good job of adjusting to what we do best, allow our linebackers to run downhill and make plays. It was pretty evident last week, especially with the game that Mario Jenkins played at linebacker, that he's back to being in full form, one of the premier players in all FCS football on defense. But so's Hayden Stout, and both Hayden and Mario both played outstanding games last week, and it was evidence literally on every single play.
How do you stop the run and stop the pass?
Well, if you're going to play man coverage, you got to play into tight windows, and you got to try and bat the ball away. Last week, they won the one-on-one matchups, and that's the way that goes. As long as we don't get run by and miscommunication, and we got run by on three miscommunication touchdowns last week. We didn't cover a back in motion out of the backfield on the goal line. We didn't cover a long fly route down the left sideline when we were in a prevent type of coverage where the safety didn't get over the top. And then the strong safety had bad eyes on a trips formation where he allowed number 3 to come across the field and catch one. Those are 3 uncontested layups that we got to make sure we try to prevent.
You also want to prevent turnovers. They have 13 interceptions. Tanner has been throwing some interceptions here and there. What does he have to do?
Well, the interception he threw last week was of none of his volition.
Yeah,
the receiver quit playing. It was just, it looked like a comedy of errors out there. What are we doing? And what we were doing didn't have anything to do with the way Tanner was playing. The one thing Tanner did last week, which is not a concern, but it highlights something. We don't have a lot of running plays on our offense for our quarterback, and he ended up with 13 carries. That means he was under duress or trying to run himself out of problems. And what I want to do is look at the end of the stat sheet at this table Saturday afternoon, and I want to see Tanner with less than 5 carries. To me, that would mean that we won the game. Because when he starts carrying 13 times, that means he's running for his life. And there are times on Saturday he ran for his life and made big plays. But that means he's also solving problems with his feet, and that's not playing quarterback. And quarterbacks that run are quarterbacks that got problems they can't surmount.
7 sacks, is that because the pocket was collapsing? Was he holding onto the ball too long?
Oh, a combination of all of that. Really, we don't really say pocket collapsing or they're under pressure. We pride ourselves on a preset read of the defense and the quarterback catching the snap and spitting it as fast as he can to avoid even an uncontested defender rushing down his throat. And so it's just a matter of a sophomore quarterback getting a little gun shy, starting to get happy feet, taking his eyes off his primary, not getting to his secondary. It's all things that 2 years from now we'll wonder, what happened? How come he's so good now? Well, it's easy. It gets better and easier for him every single day. The main thing for not just Tanner, but for our entire football team, is that we take some quality practice to the field. And we got to be able to take it up the ramp on Friday and then bring it back down the ramp on Saturday and play it. Because we've had 2 good weeks of practice leading into the NAU game. And in fact, we were up and down the field on offense, and we improved our defense and our run game. We did a lot of things that we wanted to get done in our objectives during the bye week, and it just didn't translate into anything real positive on Saturday because we had so many unforced errors, including a roll punt in which our roll punter missed the ball. He just flat missed the ball. So hopefully we won't miss the ball again.
There's a lot of similarities between this game against North Dakota and last year. About the same time, they were ranked. You guys went there and pulled off the upset, and we're hoping to get the season going. So what do you have to do to replicate what you did there on Saturday?
Well, again, number one, Lou Holtz is one of the best coaches in the history of American football, and he says the one thing about college football is that you never know what kind of team you have week to week, as opposed to the NFL, where you have a pretty good idea who you are. Again, I don't know what we're going to be like on Saturday. I won't know until we get to game time. Again, we want to play great run defense. I thought we played pretty good run defense last year. We played pretty good pass defense. We kept everything in front of us. We didn't fracture in the kicking game. We got some turnovers, and we took advantage of some things they did coverage-wise to be able to throw over the top. Whether that is relevant to this game or not, I have no idea. But I do know that if we limit the unforced errors that we had last week, I mean the fumble on the short yardage play, the first interception was just an inexperience by us throwing the ball on 4th down and 1 when we called a running play. So those are unforced errors that we certainly will get corrected. Hopefully got them corrected by this game.
Mike, North Dakota lost their first 2 games this year, and it literally came down to 1 play. And then in the 3rd game, they're trailing South Dakota by a big margin. Somehow they win the game, and they're not the same team since then. What are they doing differently?
They're just playing better. They have a really good belief system in what they do. And it's witnessed by the number of turnovers they have acquired versus the number of turnovers they've surrendered. And they're on the rise in terms of acquiring turnovers, and they are limiting their own mistakes. And I think well-coached football teams do that. Hopefully we'll appear to be the same thing on Saturday.
Their 2 main running backs, they use them in different situations. How are they similar? How are they different?
They rotate them. Both guys are about the same. They're both not very tall. They're both not very short. They're both pretty good pad level runners, and their offensive front gets off the ball. Interesting, I've noted this a couple times already today. There's a lot of teams in this conference that have a lot of juniors and sophomores playing. The bulk of their team is sophomores and juniors, as are we, as is Eastern Washington, as is all the other Weber State. Not very many senior-led teams in this conference. So if you don't get something done this year and you wait till next year, you're going to be facing the same cast of characters. So a really good tussle here on Saturday because both teams have designs on who they really are, and we'll see who can impose the will on the other team.
And their quarterback, 1 interception this year. Is that a product of their offense kind of being effective and mixing it up, or what's
emblematic of the whole team? It's the way Bubba coaches, and they don't hurt themselves. He's a veteran quarterback. He started every game for him last year. He learned from his mistakes last year. He's not making those same mistakes this year. We're seeing a lot of that from our own quarterback, from Tanner. He's making a mistake, and then he's approaching that mistake a little bit differently the next time, and then he doesn't make it again after that. So it's a process to play quarterback. When you're 9-1, touchdowns to interceptions, you know how to play the position.
Talk about,
good.
No, mine is kind of a further away question to you.
I was going to ask about Sean Chaney. He's having a great year as far as yards per punt. I mean, what have you seen the development or the change in him over the years?
Well, Sean has just matured into being a collegiate punter. His get-off time is really good. It's adequate. I want him to speed it up just a little bit. Andy Burtonshaw, our snapper, has been snapping the ball pretty well, although Sean had to reach for a couple last week. But the most important thing has been our excellent downfield coverage, especially by Andy Whittier out of Century High School and Isaiah Johnson out of Boise. Both those guys are flyers on our punt team, and they get downfield. In fact, last week it was entertaining to watch Andy have to get double teamed so Isaiah could go downfield and make tackles. And we got to make sure our guards, our tackles, and our wings get down to help us in coverage on those deep punts that Sean's having.
And Sean is kind of an interesting guy. I don't know much about him, but he graduated high school in '08, so he's an older guy. What do you know about kind of his journey and kind of?
Yeah, he's an older guy who's buying a house, and we always tell our guys, you're not a man until you got a house and you're buying a house. So he's the only man on our team. Everybody else is a man child.
I know you take it one game at a time, but just talk about the rest of your schedule. It's pretty brutal, the rest of your schedule. I mean, it's not going to be an easy one. So just talk about going into the last couple of weeks of the season there.
Well, one of the disparities of such a huge conference is the seemingly unequal balance of who plays who and when you play who and how. And to have, for example, to have 2 consecutive road games to open up your conference schedule just shows you how unwieldy the size of this conference is. Hopefully, our presidents will come to their senses and get this whole thing addressed in years to come. But a 13 or 14 team football conference at the FCS level is patently unwieldy, and it doesn't work for football. I know other sports might enjoy it, but to me it's awkward, it's an imbalance, and we're part of it.
How good is the Big Sky this year? I mean, he's one of the strongest, but
I think on the surface we're okay. We're awfully young. The value of a conference only comes from 3 things. 1, your quarterback, how good is he? We've got a lot of good quarterbacks in the conference. Most of them are young guys. 2, how good is your defensive line? I don't think anybody in the conference has a dominant defensive line yet. The kind of defensive line that can propel you into the semifinals or to the national championship. And that has really been our bugaboo, is that defensively, especially in our fronts are not good enough when we start playing those upper echelon teams from other conferences. And the third thing about our conferences is the fact that you never really know how good we are or we aren't because we don't see each other all the time every year. So a lot of what we talk about in this conference is off of videotape or watching other teams. I haven't seen Cal Davis play since California became a state. So who knows how good Cal Davis is, and they're coming off a win last week, and I don't think we play them again until Star Wars becomes reality. So I have no idea.